boy, is it going to be a long episode today. We have so much to talk about. So here's the deal. This is going to be very long, so I know that you guys have other things to do during your day, so if you want to watch all the way through, go ahead. But there's also timestamps below on the play bar. Click to the time that you want to watch from, the segment that you want to watch from. This is basically going to be like a 30-minute news segment, because we have 4 things to talk about today. We have severe thunderstorms, we have major flooding, and we have 2 tropical disturbances that could form in the next 5 days. So we're going to be talking about all 4 of those topics today. So if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell. It's very important to me to get that information. It really shows me what works and what doesn't work. That way I can improve the channel in the future. So I appreciate it a lot. So let's get right on into it. We are starting off with flooding and thunderstorms, and we are on the National Weather Service page, where we have a lot of flash flood watches, flood warnings, flood advisories. They're everywhere, from Texas-Mexico border, the Texas-Mexico border, all the way up into central Arkansas. These areas here, these dark greens, have been hammered by heavy rain, and that threat is still continuing. It is going to be a long recovery process in areas that are still getting rain and are already way over major flood stage. So we're going to be taking a look at that today after our thunderstorm and tornado outlook. Now, our current outlook shows a slight risk in areas of the northern front range, and that includes Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Nebraska, South Dakota, and North Dakota in the slight risk. 78,000 square miles, 445,000 people. Now, marginal risk is a lot larger, with a area of 364,000 square miles and 11 million people. So, northern tier of the country is starting to get into severe weather, and we've been seeing that over the past day or so. So, let's go into the NAM and take a look at all of this. So, here's the NAM 3-kilometer model, and we're going to be taking a look at this today. So, we have a lot of flow straight north from the Gulf of Mexico, and that is also driving that flooding throughout. You can see a lot of rain going over the same areas, and that includes eastern Texas, western Louisiana, Arkansas, and that threat just continues. Everything's just flowing right on shore, and as this low pressure, which is really controlling all of this, continues to stay stationary in the Rockies, this isn't going anywhere. All of these pop-up storms coming off the Gulf aren't going anywhere until eventually the low pressure does move off to the east. Now, in terms of severe weather, we have plenty of possibilities for storms to pop up. Now, that risk in the front range is a lot of pop-up showers. This low pressure moves into the eastern Rockies, pops up some showers and isolated thunderstorms, and those can bring a pretty good pop, especially coming off the cold air behind this. You can see a lot of snow back there, and that cold air flows right into the stream of warm, moist Gulf air, and we get those pop-up thunderstorms. We also have risks in the rest of the northern tier, as same setup there, but a little bit further east, so that cold air is not as dense, as cold as it is going over warmer areas. So if we take a look at the mixed layer cape for all of this, we can see here, this is the amount of energy for thunderstorms to take up. And throughout the day, today, you can see most of that energy is right along the Rockies, and that is where that's where most of the powerful thunderstorms will pop up. There are areas that could see a little bit of that higher risk, but most of that is in that slight risk area. Then we get into tomorrow, we could see another risk up there in the northern tier as well. But that is all I have for the thunderstorms segment. Let's go back to that flooding potential. And I just want to quickly show this. To anyone in eastern Texas and Louisiana, I'm sorry, but this is not going away anytime soon. As I previously said, 7 more inches of rain. This is getting dire. Now, this flow is also coming straight up the Mississippi River Basin. All of this area, New Orleans, moving up into, Memphis, all of this water here is just coming right down the Mississippi. So, there's really no escape for all this except for through the Mississippi River. And I wouldn't be surprised that the Mississippi gets very high over major flood stage. But let's move on to the hurricane segment of today's video, and it's an interesting one. We are having things starting to ramp up here. The East Pacific and the Atlantic both have disturbances that we need to start to watch. Now, the East Pacific chance here is pretty low for this disturbance. So, we have a low pressure system could form during the next day or so, a few hundred miles south of the Gulf of, I'm not going to pronounce that. Thereafter, some slow development will be possible while the system moves westward at 5 to 10 miles an hour. 10% chance in 48 hours, 30% chance in 5 days. And here is that development region. Pretty short, but this storm is moving very slowly, as I explained in yesterday's video that is linked in the cards above. So, we do have to start watching that. So, here is that disturbance. Kind of forms right in here. You can see a little bit of rotation in there, and it slowly starts to pick up some steam. Low pressure forms there, disappears, and then tries to form back again. Now, in the range that the National Hurricane Center has right now, I don't think that's going to form. But as of yesterday, if it does form, it'll form probably in this range, right over here. But we do have to wait and see. This is definitely going to be taking more than the 1 to 2 days to form. It's definitely a 5-day system, and then potentially another one right after that that rides up the Mexican coastline. So we do have to watch that one as well. The East Pacific is getting a little bit more active right now, and that seems pretty normal here, as the Atlantic is pretty slow. There is very little chances in the Atlantic, except for one, and let's go talk about that. So, here's the Atlantic disturbance, and this one, is a odd one for this early in the season. So, we have a lot here. A large area of cloudiness and thunderstorms has developed several hundred miles east of Bermuda. A non-tropical low-pressure system is expected to form within this broad cloud system a few hundred miles northeast of Bermuda by tomorrow and produce gale-force winds. The low is then forecast to move westward and southwestward over warmer waters on Friday, and will likely become a short-lived subtropical cyclone late Friday and into the weekend near and to the northeast of Bermuda. The system is expected to move toward the north and northeast into a more hostile environment by late Sunday into Monday, and we are going to be watching this system. 30% chance in 48 hours and 60% chance in 5 days. And here's that development region. You can see north and northeast of Bermuda is that development region. So let's take a look at the GFS and see what is going on here. So you can see that we have a lot of storminess out here right off the coast of Bermuda. Bermuda's right in here. And we have a low pressure system that forms right in here, just south of this high pressure. Now, that kind of swirls around another upper level low, and eventually 2 low pressures form out of this. The eastern one, it's not a big deal, it's not going to be tropical. This western one is tightly wrapped enough where we could possibly see that tropical, subtropical cyclone form. And as you can see, that when it starts to move to the south, it does gain more of those tropical characteristics, but eventually it does swing back up to the north and back down to the south while it is dissipating, and eventually move off. So that has a pretty good chance, and I've kind of been watching it. It seems like a subtropical storm alpha situation. It's like, that can't form, that doesn't seem right, but then it'll end up forming. So, very odd there. But other than that, there's nothing to speak of in the Atlantic right now. There's absolutely nothing. That is it. So, that's all I have for today. If you guys watched through the entire video, hope you enjoyed. It was definitely interesting to make. But that's all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.